I am the mother of 3 beautiful, strong, and intelligent young black men. Since becoming a mother, my #1 priority has been taking care of them. And while it's the best job I've ever had, it's also been the hardest. There always seems to be something you need to fight for when you're the mother of black boys. My longest and hardest fight has been about gaining access to quality education for my sons. I adore my sons, and on most days I like to think that they adore me too. We fight, but that's only because these 3 seem to forget who's the real boss in this relationship. They've made me into the fighter I am today, and they're also the reason why I continue to fight. I remember the day I went to register my oldest son for kindergarten. I had all the proper paperwork, and I had even gotten him a brand new Hot Wheels backpack to celebrate, even though school didn't start for a few months. When we entered this big, beautiful building that was about a half-an-hour drive from where we lived, we got a lot of stares that made us feel unwelcomed, and a woman's voice that said, "Can I help you with something?" in a tone that made me think I was walking on her lawn rather than the hallway of a public school. I told her we were there to register, and she said, "Here, at this school? What's your zip code, hun?" When I responded, she said with a look of relief, "Oh, he can't register here. He's not in the catchment area." It was only then that she came from the office with a map that highlighted the streets on which one needed to live in order to attend their school. I left that school angry and confused as to why a rule like that would even exist. In my mind, I knew the reason was because that space was reserved for kids who didn't look anything like mine. The district schools in my neighborhood were not an option for my son. At least that's what I told myself. The buildings were falling apart, the books were old, and the classrooms were always overcrowded. I couldn't imagine why any parent would want to send their kids to that school. But sadly enough, they did, and it was because they didn't think that they had an option not to. After just 2 years, at our first charter, the school was facing allegations of mismanagement, and it was a real possibility that it wouldn't be open the next year. Unfortunately, that led us back to the district school. My reality dictates that we remain where we were, with my kids stuck in an underperforming school until another opportunity made itself available. But this is why I thought it was important to continue fighting. The reality was, it wasn't that the opportunities weren't there, it was just that no one was sharing them with us. I remember reading an article about a senator who was being sued by one state for the free cyber education his kids were receiving while living in another state. And I made it my business to find out more about that type of school. Free education from home? We were signing up. We did. My son was home, he was safe, and he was happy for a short time. Making the commitment to fight is hard, but it's necessary. It gets us to this. After years of searching for a quality school for my son, my oldest son finally got accepted into a truly great charter school. There's not enough time in this TED Talk to tell you the difference this school made in my son's life and in the lives of the hundreds of black boys that got to attend after. But the fight wasn't over. I wanted for all kids what I finally had for my son, a choice and a chance. Parents in urban communities are often left to pick up the pieces where education and equity have failed them, even when we have no idea how to go about it. For me, that meant spending 3 to 4 hours a day, every day after work, researching schools, gathering documentation, completing applications, and requesting records. It was a hard thing to do, but I felt like I didn't have a choice. I couldn't accept where my kids were supposed to go. Because I kept fighting, my kids had the opportunity to attend almost every type of school there was: public, charter, cyber, and for one amazing year, one of my sons got to attend a private kindergarten. And that was only because of an administrative mistake. Parents in urban communities have always had to work 4 times as hard and are rarely given credit for all that we do in this painful process. Stop blaming parents for failure of school systems that have been failing our kids for decades. These schools did not, thank you. These schools did not just become underfunded with the advent of charter schools. Where was all this concern about the school systems when they had all of the kids and all of the money? We as parents need to recognize that our voices are more powerful than we realize. Parent-led organizations have been my greatest ally in this fight. Join us as we rally on the steps of school districts and on the floor of the state capitol to convince people who do not have kids in any of these failing schools that if it's not good enough for their kids, it's certainly not good enough for ours. I encourage you to take matters into your own hands and continue to fight. We're gaining momentum in this fight, and we're gaining allies like a lot of the speakers here today. I ask that you be strong and stay persistent, and most importantly, support one another. Not everyone is a fighter, but we're all in this fight. And until there's no reason to fight for a single child, the fight is never over. Thank you.